What's up, Crow Gang? It's Karasu with the video of the week. This week we're looking at C9. With their roster changes, obviously this team's decisions were a hot topic, but regardless, in their first official game together, they came out guns blazing and convincingly beat Loud on Split. Loud, of course, being a top 3 team, is no easy feat, so we definitely have to watch out for C9 in the future. We're gonna look at 2 key rounds from this map to learn important concepts when hitting Garage. Let's get into it. Let's dive into round 3. On their bonus, C9 they bait Loud's utility so well on this double pump, and it gets the momentum going for this offensive side. Obviously, winning the bonus on the offense on Split is huge, and this really snowballs the game out of control. Their priority in the early round is to get the lockdown for Zelsis. As you can see, he's way ahead of the curve in terms of ult economy. He's 1 off, it's round 3, so he definitely wants to use it to guarantee side control for these this lesser weaponry from C9, and also while obviously using it in round 3, you can get maybe 2 or 3 more in the half. I wanted to recognize also the star usage by Jake. He always puts the tree like this. This one on A main is more so a fake star most of the time, where he denies information from this angle and this angle. So let's roll the tape on their double pump on Garage. We have a turret watching the mid flank as well. As you can see, that star was already recalled by Jake, so that's kind of trying to keep Cloud9's honest here on Rafters. And 2 is just spotting from default. Okay, he gets spotted. He gets Zelsis' ult, and this is a first pump. So there's a stun, a flash, aftershock, smoke. So let's look at the utility exchange here. So this is there's 1 flash used, a stun used, a flash used, and an aftershock used, and a smoke on B heaven. So those are the skills used by C9. What has Loud used on their side? The mosh pit was thrown here. Sadak is gonna throw his wingman as well. So that's 2 down. The most important part, honestly, was Twiz using his smoke and his suck. So he's already 2 stars down. He puts 1 right outside of Garage right now, and when there's 1 left on mid. But in this strange reaction afterwards, he's gonna recall this star, so he's gonna be 3 stars down for this early round. Recall being 25-second cooldown. That's huge. I'm really not sure where he recalls it, honestly. You see the wingman comes out, and I kind of understand Loud, throwing this utility. I really feel they bit on this first pump. Why did he use his smoke and his suck? Well, he was blinded. He got blind. If it was here, he was blinded by the sky flash. There's a flash here, something like here to flash him off from breach. So he was denied information in that sense. So he was pressured to use these 2 stars, and Sadak, he was behind this B heaven smoke, so that's why he used his mosh pit. So these players were denied information, and that's why they react by throwing utility. But they get punished for it hard with this lockdown afterwards. Now let's look at the second pump with the lockdown. The lockdown comes in. Just a second. You can see that Aspas is holding it down on A alone. That's fine. What allows him to do so was the amount of utility pitched on B, but also in the early round, Cloud9's, he threw a recon flash over here, and nothing was flashed, so that kind of tells him, okay, most of them are on B most likely, which is the logical conclusion. And that's when we just heard it. This star is recalled by Twiz, so that's a 25-second cooldown. He actually smokes mid. You see the star that was here, it's already used. So currently he has no stars. His last star that he can use is in 25 seconds. So obviously this is a big gap that C9 can exploit, especially with the lockdown. Okay, so the lockdown comes in, and honestly, I credit Loud. They're pretty efficient with this time, where Cloud9's, he's gonna dog mid, and this is gonna clear mid. So just watching out for flanks. This is really good precaution by Leaf. He dogs B main even though there's a lockdown to avoid this this cheeky kill that could have happened by this high-low setup. And now they're forced off of the angle. And this double pump is basically again, you can see this masterclass of utility by C9. So Jake, at this point of the execute after the lockdown, he has 2 stars. So the first star, the smoke that he used in the first pump, he used it here. And now his second and third stars are for heaven again and for spawn. So, and afterwards he's gonna get his 4th star, and you're gonna see that if we're at this whole round, I really rather commend his utility usage. His 4 stars were actually 4 smokes, which is really huge and really efficient use of his stars. On this second pump, with the space gained by this lockdown, there's a double satchel by Xepa with a flash from Leaf over here, and they get side control. There's also a nade as well onto the back side, just to be sure that nobody is hiding there. He gets tagged a bit, and the site is theirs. So we're entering the final phase of this round, being the post plant, where against C9 they have decent utility to make this post plant happen. So we're gonna have 2 KG mollies onto the bomb. Jakey's gonna get his 4th star in just a second. Leaf is gonna get another flash, which he's gonna use into spawn to, for example, to focus on it and be aware that somebody's there. That's a good recon flash. Let's see how it plays out. So you see the flash goes in, and that makes Xepa be, he's aware of somebody's spawn. That's Jake's 4th star. As I mentioned before, so he used 1 star for the first pump. Then he used a star here, a star here. So those are his 2nd and 3rd smoke. And he's gonna use a 4th smoke on new box. So again, really good efficiency by him. I feel that all this is calculated in terms of the cooldowns and the layering. So that's really good stuff by them. So Loud, again, you can see that Aspas is really aware, I guess, of the possibility of somebody going mid. So he's looking at it. Still, this turret stays alive for this whole round, and there's even an alarm bot if, for example, he smokes it off. Aspas smokes it off and actually tries to lurk. So in this sense, C9, they're really, they can completely ignore the flank, honestly, and they can just focus on these angles instead. Especially this kill from Xepa onto Sadak, it relieves a lot of pressure. The retake comes in from Loud, where Cowan's in, he flashes in this corner. There's a molly to clear new box. So that's how it starts off. That's a really good kill by Xepa. He gets traded out by Cowan's in. This smoke from Jake bothers the retake as well. But it creates this. Again, I'm not a big fan of 4 mailbox. I feel somebody else should go spawn to get this angle. But I feel a lot of teams, they go for mailbox. I'm not too sure if that's optimal. I would say probably not. So it creates this weird clusterfuck, obviously. And Rooney goes off. We're not going to see it in real time, but we're going to look at it in the replay. So he goes off, and honestly, to his credit, these 2 kills are so fast. This guy's insane. As you can see, this situation, there should be somebody bothering him from the low angle. He flicks towards it afterwards, but you need to synchronize a peak, something like this, where there's a high-low situation. Now, I feel the most efficient way would be to, have somebody posted up here, looking at the smoke, or people peeking above the smoke, for example. And you would have a swing, a high-low situation here. So it's really good from Kalinzin to get this space, but I feel he should route this way instead. As you can see in the last kill, actually, he just pushes this smoke dry and just dies. I feel it's definitely more efficient to go this way and create a high-low situation, and somebody watches this smoke, to avoid somebody wrapping around them. I think that's the most efficient way. Obviously, it's a easier said than done. Rudy gets these 2 kills so fast. So to really get the coordination going is so hard. Again, a lot of credit is due to C9 for making this round happen with a double pump and a decent, post plant. Let's dive into round 10 where C9 they go for a similar approach. So to get garage control, get an easy orb for an alt. In this case, it's Rooney. So he's one off. He's going to get the alt in garage. So it's a 3-1-1 setup by C9. 3-1-1. 2 players really passive on this end. And they're going to use their rechargeables to get the alt here. So that's good value. Stun, flash, 2 rechargeable skills, and a satchel. The satchel is a bit of a downer in that sense. I mean, that's going to limit Xepa's ability to gain space, which is going to go punished later on in the round. Allowed to respond with a mid push. So you can see this, such a big investment of personnel on mid. But that's a good idea because honestly, they should know that there are 3 players garage. So they heard a stun, they heard a flash, they heard a satchel. So there's at least 3 players garage. So they're trying to isolate these 2 players. So usually there should be 1 player here, should be 1 player here. So they try to isolate one of these 2. Their decision is to, isolate Zelsis, but all they find is a turret, which is good value, honestly. It's funny. And now they go for a strong B setup. So we're entering the reclearance phase here by both teams, honestly. So C9, they got their alt on garage. We have a recon flash by Cowan Zin here on top ramp. Since Les got fake smoked by Jake, he notes that it's a possibility that somebody crossed. So this flash clears, top ramp-ish. And that allows Cowan Zin to rotate. Now C9 and them, they flash preemptively here. Again, understandable, they've lost mid. You see here how Zelsis is passive, so mid is a complete unknown for them. So they're forced to re-clear it. But they're efficient with it. You can see he's got, clearing mid was the normal protocol. You have to re-clear mid. But they use it as an opportunity as well to feint an A-split. So you can see the stars from Jake here. He's gonna smoke this, kind of expensive, two smokes honestly, but it's fine, it's a nice try by him. I kind of like the idea, honestly. So re-clearing mid was always a necessity, but he used it as an opportunity to feint an A-split. So smoke here with a dog interval. What goes wrong for them is actually Sadak. I feel he single-handedly wins this round, honestly. It's kind of the unsung hero. So he mosh pits the mid smoke, and that, if C9 would have explored mid, that could have created separation where we have players behind the smoke and a mosh pit. I can't go through, but somebody goes through. He could have isolated 1 player, for example. And if anything, if somebody wants to cross this choke point, he has to run. So Sadak, the fact that he hears nobody following the dog, he sees nobody following the dog, it tells him, okay, this is kind of weird, and he gets to read that it's a feint, and A is not really a possibility. Now the next few seconds is really when they wrap this up. Because Sadak is going to explore mid a bit deeper, and this flash by Cowan's in is huge. I feel that Sky Flashes are, the recon ability of it is kind of underrated. So Sadak, as you can see, he clears mid. Okay, guys, there's nobody mid. And this flash is going to note blinded. So again, the read is, well, it's for sure a big hit. And C9, they know that the jig is up. They know that they've been exposed. They know that Lada has this read, so they press the go button, which is a bit preemptive, to be honest, because the biggest issue in this situation is the fact that Jake doesn't have a smoke for BM. Not just yet. He just used 2 smokes for this feint, so he can't... well, actually, look, he sets up this star here, yes, but he can't smoke because he smoked earlier this and this. So he's on cooldown for his smoke. Actually, he recalls it, which creates a smoke for 2 seconds. As you can see, he recalled it. Xepa still gets a kill off of Leaf's flash, which is huge. So Leaf flashed here, that's a great flash. And I've mentioned before where he used a satchel really early, so this kind of, hinders his ability to gain space. He can only gain this zone instead of gaining this zone, which is huge, but he still gets a kill, so he makes the best out of it. So kudos to him. Now this is when all goes wrong for C9, and I feel it's to their own fault, honestly. Again, Jake cannot smoke Behem and Crinity, but they're already out. It's the go button. They have to go. Now, my issue with this is they weren't able to gain space. So this position by Twiz is huge, and well, they could have punished it, honestly. They have an Aftershock, they have a nade still, and they have two flashes. So if anything, I would have liked an Aftershock here, a nade here, for example. So this zone would have been cleared. And we have Rooney's flashes somewhere like here or here, which would help them cross, if anything. But they don't use any of that utility, honestly. And Twitch just goes huge. But the fact that Behemoth is not smoked, you can see that Jake is currently setting up his star here. But still, it's too late. Sadaki does the damage, he gets a kill. And this crossfire is just too powerful. Too powerful. Especially with the smoke being up. We just visited the notion that you see here, Jake's smoke just goes up, but it's too late. We just visited the notion that this smokestack is, you cannot go into B without bidding it out, or without having multiple points of entries. So for example, yes, this can get smoked off and suck, but if you have players coming from mailbox, that's not too bad. But if you go all garage and this is still up, there's no way you go through. So again, mistakes were made by C9, and but kudos to Loud for getting the read and doing these great info plays in the mid round. C9 eventually closed out Split, but Loud, they eventually closed out the series, and they show why they're the top dogs in the Americas League. Nonetheless, this was a good showing by C9, especially this early on with this roster. C9 fans should have a reason to be optimistic about this new lineup, and I personally will be keeping an eye on them. That's it for this week's video, and as always, thanks for watching, and don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Pro Gang, we out.